Thank you, Marta, for very nice words. Then I welcome Heather to stage. Floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm on, right? Yep. Ooh. A bit of a spoiler alert there. Okay, so what we're going to do, or at least it's going to hear from Morten, Niels, Sagar and myself. And what I'm going to do at least, and I think Morten and Niels are going to do very similar as well, is I'm going to talk about what I discussed at the session. So we had a session that Martha already referred to and Michael referred to, a main session in India which we called Peace, Power and Perspectives, a value-based approach to trustworthy AI. So what I'm going to do is start by giving the speech that I actually gave there. So now you've got to transport yourselves to New Delhi and pretend you're there and listen to hear what everyone there heard when I spoke. And then I will give some of my reflections, both from the session, but also from the overall event as well, because that's what you're here to hear as well. So just transport yourselves now for a few minutes, and then I'll bring you back to the room to talk about the reflections. So what I spoke about was AI in the public sector in Norway, because what we were trying to do was to show our approach for trustworthiness, what trustworthiness means to us here in Norway. So the title of my speech was A Framework for Trustworthy AI in the Norwegian Public Sector. So, Norway sees a major opportunity in using AI in the public sector to deliver better, more timely and more context-aware services, while also creating the efficiencies that we so urgently need. At the same time, we are extremely aware of the challenges that AI brings. We're walking this tightrope here. How do we harness this really powerful technology while ensuring that it remains trustworthy? In Norway, losing trust in public administration is just quite frankly not an option. Trust has been hard-earned over generations, and Martha's already referred to this. This isn't something new to Norway. You have built this over many, many generations. And it must be renewed every single day. We do not claim to have all the answers, but we are building on strong foundations and putting new building blocks in place, systematically and deliberately, to enable innovation without compromising trust. One example here is the establishment of AI Norway, or KOI Norge, in the Digitalisation Agency, designed to both accelerate AI, but to do this responsibly and have responsible development and use. So I'll just briefly outline 6 core elements of our framework, and you see them here behind me. First is legitimate and trusted institutions. Norway benefits from high institutional trust, and safeguarding these institutions is therefore non-negotiable. Second is shared public values. In the public sector, AI must reflect fundamental values such as equality, fairness, and accountability. We openly acknowledge risks like bias and power asymmetries. Trust requires confronting these risks, not ignoring them. Third is robust governance. Guardrails must be in place if AI is to strengthen rather than undermine trust. We combine extensive national legislation governing public services with European regulation, including the forthcoming transposition of the EU Artificial Intelligence Act, and of course, complementary soft law mechanisms. Fourth, high-quality public data. AI is only as trustworthy as the data it relies upon. For decades, Norway has collected high-quality public data to support our welfare state. This data is professionally managed, and both open sharing and controlled access are prioritised. Public data is not merely a technical asset, it is a societal one. Fifth, a well-informed and digitalised population. Norwegians are digitally mature and have high expectations for transparency, explainability, and fairness. Sixth, then, is targeted research. AI presents complex and often unpredictable risks. Addressing them requires deep multidisciplinary expertise. Close engagement with research is absolutely essential. And Norway is investing hugely in public sector AI research, and one great example of this is the Trust Research Centre, which organised the session. and which the Digitalisation Agency is a core partner, along with many other public and private bodies. So to conclude, our framework is a balancing act. Each element depends on the others. If one fails, the whole structure is weakened. But we do not claim to have solved every challenge. Like all countries, this is a work in progress. But Norway is entering this transformation consciously and deliberately. So this was the speech that I gave at, as I say, in New Delhi. And now I just want to move on to kind of the reflections that I have from the event. What was absolutely clear for absolutely every country was sovereign AI. Digital sovereignty was hugely, hugely high on the agenda in Delhi. Everybody was talking about it. There was also a huge, talk of cooperation and the huge importance to cooperate, and particularly with our like-minded partners and friends. But make no mistake, this is co-opetition. There is still high competition between countries on the AI race. This AI race is still on, very, very much so. It was reflected on a lot that in Bletchley Park and, in Seoul, etc., and to an extent even in Paris, that AI is still in the pilot phases, There was definitely an air in Delhi that the implementation phase of artificial intelligence, we're now in the implementation phase. This has gone way past pilots. Collaboration, hugely, hugely important, and not just across borders. I mean, this was a big thing, of course, because we were in India, and at this, there was 91 countries represented there, but also across sectors. The huge importance that public sector, private sector, research and civil society are actually working together to bring together the dilemmas, the perspectives and the overall knowledge is absolutely crucial, that we cannot work in siloed anymore. And disciplines as well, of course, that this is, as Martha has been very, very clear, as State Secretary has been very, very clear on, this is not just a technical issue. This is a huge multidisciplinary issue. The Global South is a major actor in the AI ecosystem. What India is doing in relation to AI it's just immense. It was huge. What was happening down there in India and how they are transforming. They are an actor in the AI ecosystem as much as we are. And we need to be working global north and global south much more together than what we do today. Trustworthy AI is very, very high on the agenda, but I think we have to seriously, seriously question how deep it is on the agenda as well. There was a lot of lip service to it, particularly, of course, from the CEOs, etc. But we have a real role here, and Norway has a real role to make sure that trustworthy AI has a depth internationally as well. I just want to reflect as well on one particular person who really, everything she said resonated hugely with me. I mean, when you're there, when you're in India, it's incredible. Everyone from Lacan, Bengio, Altman, Dario, the works, they're all there. And this woman, she stood out to me the most of them all. Now, many of course, very well known in this room as well, Dame Wendy Hall. But what she said, she is decades in this. She's one of the world's leading computer scientists and decades in this. So she had a very kind of experienced approach to this, let's say, and I thought she was particularly striking. I just want to bring up some of the things that she was raised. Data governance, AI is sexy. Data is not as sexy as it used to be. She is very concerned that this is the forgotten frontier, and I think that this is a huge strength that Norway has regarding data. It's not forgotten for us, and we need to keep it on the table internationally as well. She spoke about AGI, because she was asked about AGI actually and what her thoughts were on that, and she's very much kind of like, what do we mean by AGI? What does this actually mean? Very much, is this just the emperor's new clothes? What is this? And this, I suppose, a good way to reflect on this is her position, I suppose, is that nothing that humans do is inevitable. And we need to remember that. Nothing that we are doing here is inevitable. We are making the decisions, and we need to remember that. Then she was asked actually by a member of the audience, she was asked, what is the thing that keeps her up awake at night the most? Yeah, the most. Okay, so think about it. This is one of the world-leading computer scientists. She knows the depth, she understands the complexity, she understands this on a level that most people don't. Her answer was the lack of women. That was her answer. That was her biggest concern. Now, you see this picture here. I would imagine everyone in the room has at least seen the video of this. And this went viral, this picture went viral because Dario and Sam Altman here wouldn't shake hands. Do you remember that, you know, because Modi brought up these are all the world's most leading tech leaders in the world. You know, you've Meta, you have Google, you have OpenAI, Anthropic, etc. I think it's 14 people. There's one woman. Is that okay? You know, and I promise you this is 2 men here. They got cut out there, so that's 2 men there. So, you know, she has been extremely concerned about it through her career, and as far as she's concerned, it's getting worse. But what does Norway have, folks? And actually, if I was to do that speech again, and be international again, I would talk about likestilling in Norway. I would talk about being able to bring that. There are women at the table in Norway in ways that there are not women at the table in the rest of the world. Now, can there be more women at the table in Norway? Yes, of course. But in comparison, we can do better. We can do better internationally, and we can influence that. So that's my main reflections, and we'll talk more in the panel. Thank you very much.